Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live, bringing you the weekly roundup of organ recitals from San Diego, California to Tomsk, way out in Siberia. We have a full schedule of at least one live stream every day this week, and sometimes more than one. Before we get going, let me remind you, if you're watching us on Facebook, like the video and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads, if that is where you're watching this, so you never miss the more than 1,000 live performances coming your way online this year from us. That's right. So let us, I need to take a moment here to clear my glasses off, but that's unusual. That never happens during these live streams. And then we will get right to this full roundup we have this week of so much going on. Let me see if I can pull up with a picture for you. You know, the thing I noticed, though, is that I was putting together this composite picture to the right. There was only one woman organist in all of these live streams this week. We've got 9 or 10 this week and only one woman organist. Although there may be several, I believe there are several women organists from Juilliard School, which is doing a live stream on Thursday coming from Riverside Church in New York City. We will get to that. But first, I want to get to pulling up the picture of the first organ live stream we have going, because it's today. And it's a complex one. It has several organists involved. Today, March 25th, St. James Cathedral, Toronto, live streams the life and music of Orlando Gibbons, the last of the great Tudor musicians, a lecture recital by Thomas Bell and Jean-Paul Fayot. That will be at this Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, March 25th. It'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time, 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, and 6 o'clock in the evening here in Europe, which is where I'm live streaming from. The photo there shows you Jean-Paul Fayot, the young guy. He's the Wayne Vance organ scholar at St. James Cathedral. An organist, he's a singer, former choir boy, like so many of us good people are, and early musician. And the other photo, the older guy, that's Thomas Bell, and he's the head music guy at the St. James Cathedral, Toronto, and an organist. He also plays the flute, violin, piano. He's been music director at a number of Anglican churches there in Toronto. And the purpose of this particular live stream, and I think it's of particular interest to early music, people with early music interests, it's this guy, Orlando Gibbons. I can show you the poster, the last of the great Tudor musicians. Now, he doesn't count, strictly speaking, as an early music composer, because they cut off early music. Well, they cut off Baroque in 1750. Well, yes, he is. Yeah, he counts. This is an early music composer. So I will do an extra clip on this to send it out to all the early music groups that we know on Facebook, because they may have a special interest. It isn't often that you get a concert that celebrates the 400th anniversary of someone. They're celebrating Bach's 340th anniversary later this week, and I'll tell you about that. We don't know what they're playing, and I don't know the music of Orlando Gibbons. So this is a chance to discover some new music later today, Tuesday, March 25th. How about that? All rolled up in one. Then we move ahead to Wednesday. And Wednesday we have the usual logjam, or the competing live streams between Temple Church London and the Glasgow University Chapel. Let me take them one at a time, though. Wednesday, March 26th at 2 o'clock European time, Temple Church London live streams the organ recital of Thomas Allery, who's the music director of that church. He's also an active choir conductor and a harpsichordist. He's a Royal College of Music graduate. Well, he got his bachelor's at Oxford, then a master's at the RCOM in 2014, and he also leads a group called Ensemble Hespery, which is an early music ensemble which I believe plays a harpsichord, and they perform at festivals around town. The organ there is a Harrison and Harrison Limited organ, which was arrived by rail from Scotland in 1953, where it was first built in a ballroom in 1927, and its inaugural recital was given by Marcel Dupré. Well, that's that organ for you. Okay. So now 10 minutes later on Wednesday, you have another choice of a live stream. And again, for these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday live streams, nobody tells us what they're playing. They don't give us the program. Very often they'll put a blurb on Facebook which says program to follow, and the program never follows. Wednesday, March 26, Glasgow University Chapel hosts Scottish organist John Kitchen, MBE, and longtime resident organist for the city of Edinburgh for their weekly live stream. That'll be at 1:10 p.m. British time, 2:10 p.m. European time, 8:10 in the morning. Is that correct? 9:10. That's 9:10 in the morning, Eastern Daylight Time. And well, our listings on that one are going to be wrong. And 6:10 in the morning, European time. It gets confusing with the daylight time in the U.S., but that will all end when Europe goes on daylight time next Sunday. Kitchen is he's Scottish. He's older, born in 1950, but he's still doing an awful lot. He's the resident organist for Edinburgh City. He's also the university organist for Edinburgh University and an honorary fellow at the university. He's the director of the Edinburgh University Singers. He's also involved in overseeing the preservation of a collection of early keyboard instruments at St. Cecilia's Hall in Edinburgh, a director of music at Old St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Edinburgh, and he teaches harpsichord at St. Mary's Music School in Edinburgh. So this is a busy guy. I don't know what he's going to be playing, but whatever it is, he'll be playing it very expertly. The organ in that chapel is a Henry Willis III organ, built in 1927 and completely refurbished by Harrison and Harrison in their Durham workshops in 2005. Now, after these 3 weekly routine concerts, we then move into some of the more elaborate concerts going on this week, which are very interesting. And several of them are coming out of Russia, different places in Russia, Moscow and Tomsk. And here's the first of them. Artbene live streams a Lenten concert from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow with organs, sopranos, and the Moscow Regional Philharmonic playing Bach, Böhm, Pergolesi, and Beethoven, Wednesday, March 26th. That will be at 8:30 in the evening Moscow time, 6:30 European time, 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern Daylight Time, and 10:30 in the morning Pacific Daylight Time. That's on YouTube, as are all of these others, free of charge. We give you a link to the organ specs, as we do for all of the live streams we tell you about. The sopranos there. Did I put up the photo for you? Yes, I had the presence of mind to do that. The organist here is Marina Omelchenko, who is one of the 2 resident organists at the Catholic Cathedral, both of whom are women. And it's unusual. It's unusual enough to have 1 woman, but to have 2 women as the head organist as a cathedral is highly unusual. So hats off to the Russians for doing that. The 2 singers are Elena and Olga Terentieva, a soprano and a mezzo-soprano, Both of them are from a region called Bashkortostan, which I do not know. I'm not Russian. And both of them sing with the Novaya Opera Theater. So they'll be doing a couple pieces by Johann Bach in these concerts at the Catholic Cathedral. Even when even if there's an orchestra and there are singers, there are also some pieces which will be just organ music pieces, which I suspect is true of the first two here. So they'll be doing Bach's Prelude and Fugue in C minor and choral prelude Ich ruf zu dir, BWV 639, if you're counting those numbers. Then they'll be doing Georg Böhm's Choral Prelude, Vater unser im Himmelreich, Our Father in Heaven. And then they'll be doing Pergolesi's cantata Stabat Mater for soprano, mezzo-soprano, organ, and orchestra. So that'll be a big deal. And then when all of that is done, they'll come back. I imagine then there will be the intermission. Then they come back and the orchestra will play Beethoven's Symphony No. 4. So that's a very full organ recital, which you might enjoy. What do we have coming up next for them, Johnny? Then I think we do move on to Thursday. Finally, that's right. So there are 3 organ recital live streams, well, organ concert recital live streams on Wednesday alone. And on Thursday, there's this recital of organists who are students at Juilliard in New York City. 10 young organists from the Juilliard School will grace the keyboards of the 12,000 pipe organ at Riverside Church, New York City in recital on Thursday, March 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Playing music by John Rutter, Carl Maria Weber, Louis Vierne, and others. This will be at 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, 4 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time, midnight in Europe, and 10 o'clock in the morning the next day, Friday morning, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. I can tell you some of the music they're playing. They're playing Carl Maria von Weber's Overture from Der Freischütz. They'll be playing some pieces by John Rutter's Variations on an Easter Theme. Music by Marco Jimenez, The Light Beyond Our Stars, which was composed by the young man who's playing it, Marco Jimenez, and Bowie Ma plays the viola and dances during that piece as well. And I think there's more of that kind of thing in this concert. Music by Des Messieurs, John Ireland, an organ trumpet duo playing Henri Tomasi's Holy Week at Cuzco, Cement Sant, Cuzco. Calvin Hampton's 5 Dances, played by Alethea Teague on the organ, and John Weaver's Passacaglia on a theme by Dunstable. So there you have a gathering, and there are a few. There's at least one. There's Alethea. Yeah, there's one woman in the group. There's Alethea Teague playing on a couple of these pieces, and a dancer and a trumpeter. And a viola. That 12,000 pipe organ is that's enormous. It has 149 stops, 207 ranks, a 5-manual main console, and a second 4-manual console. And ordinarily these concerts, these 7 o'clock concerts, are preceded at 6:30 p.m. by a carillon concert. On the Laura Spelman Rockefeller Memorial Carillon, which is the world's largest carillon by weight, with 74 cast bronze bells, including a 40,000-pound Bourdon bell, they call it. Enjoy the young organist and their spirit and their energy if you tune into this. And we move along then to Friday's recitals or concerts. We have both. Out in Tomsk, Earlier in the day, we have Dmitry Ushakov. Dmitry Ushakov, resident organist and former music director of the Tomsk Philharmonic, plays music from opera and ballet in honor of International Theater Day in Russia on Friday, March 28th at 1 p.m. European time. That'll be, that's at 7 o'clock in the evening, KRAT time, Siberian time. European time is 6 hours earlier. That'll be at 8 in the morning Eastern Daylight Time, a very early 5 a.m. on the West Coast, and 11 p.m. in the evening down under in Australia. He'll be playing. You see, the idea is that the concert is called Organ Masks because somehow it's focused on the fact that in ancient Greek tragedy, the actors would wear masks. And ancient Greek tragedy was the origin of ballet and opera. So that leads them to describe this concert as having to do with masks. I as a classicist who studied classical tragedy, I don't quite see the connection, but there you have it. It's their connection to make. And the interesting thing about these concerts by the Tomsk Phil is they always have explanations of why, which are not so much musicological as cultural. It's very interesting. Anyway, some of the selections will be Handel's The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba from the Oratorio Solomon, Strauss's Overture to the Die Fledermaus, Rimsky-Korsakov, a suite from the opera Christmas Eve, some Tchaikovsky, a waltz from Sleeping Beauty, Verdi's Grand March from the opera Aida ends it up, and also music by Bang, Lefebvre-Velli, Rimsky-Korsakov, and Glazunov. So it'll be a thorough round for those of you who love the organ, and for those of you who love the opera. Why not? It's free of charge. That's not all on Friday. Friday, a little later in the day, we have more for you. We have the usual, inimitable Canon Martin Green. As usual, as every Friday, Canon Martin Green is very articulate and engaging organist. We'll be doing a live stream organ recital at St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral in San Diego. It's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific Daylight Time, which makes it 4 o'clock on the East Coast and 9 in the evening in Europe. He's an award-winning organist, and the organ is has one of the longest histories of any in San Diego. It was in 1969, Aeolian Skinner built one for them, Opus 1495, and then it was completely rebuilt in 2012 by Quimby Pipe Organs, Opus 68. 4 manuals, 98 stops, 86 ranks, and 4,933 pipes. But the hits keep on coming, folks. On Saturday, there's another concert coming out of Russia. Once again, coming out of the, I think that's coming out of the Moscow Catholic Cathedral, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Saturday, March 29th, Catholic Cathedral in Moscow continues its celebration of the 340th birthday of Johann Sebastian Bach with a live stream concert, Soli Deo Gloria, to God alone be the glory. Works by the master Bach, played by the top Russian organist Alexey Parshin of the Moscow Conservatory and the Mariinsky Theater. This is at the Roman Catholic Cathedral. It's live streamed by Artbene, which live streams all of the concerts from there. God bless him. Alexey Parshin is what they call an honored artist of Russia. They always use descriptions like this in these Russian concerts. They're very big on laureate of this or laureate of that. It's very cute. Anyway, born in 1957, so he's in his 60s. Studied Moscow State Conservatory, but then he also trained in the organ at the Conservatoire de Rueil-Malmaison, the Parisian music conservatory at Rueil-Malmaison, which specializes in the organ. He's got a repertoire which covers 5 centuries, all the way from he's playing Bach here, but he's also very familiar with contemporary composers, 20th century composers, Shostakovich, Mushel, Xaver Zaschili, Valery Kichter, Karen Khachaturian, and but he's a professor in the Department of Organ and harpsichord performance at the Moscow Conservatory, and he has his own page at the Mariinsky Theater. So he's a top guy. What they tell us is he's playing Bach. That's it. They don't tell us any more than that. On the left-hand side of the photo there, you can see his. You can see the poster for him, where I thought he looked a little too imposing, so I put up besides it one of him looking a little more engaging, like a nice guy on the right-hand side. I'm sure he's capable of being both. And finally, we come to the last of the organ recital live streams, which we found for you this week. Saint Eustache Church live streams its masterful organist and showman Baptiste Florian Mal Ouvrard playing François Couperin's Messe pour les Paroisses for its weekly 5 p.m. Paris time recital this Sunday, March 30th. I really like Baptiste Florian Mal Ouvrard. He's a showman of an organist, down to the fact that he wears red socks when he plays at these concerts because he's using the pedals a lot. And maybe he's thinking in terms of how on the live stream, this is an advantage of the live streams. Actually, you get to see the organist's feet on the pedals up close, as well as his hands on the keyboard. I attend these concerts when I am in Paris, which I'm there several times a year for a couple of months. Maybe half my time is there. And they're terrific because the sound, the peculiarities of the architecture of that church and that organ, which is as big as the organ at Notre Dame Cathedral, really creates an immersion in sound. That organ can do everything. And we also give you the link to the interview, about a half an hour, 35-minute interview I live streamed with Thomas Hospital, the other resident organist at St. Eustache Church. So you can find out everything you might want to know about that organ and about their process of renovating the organ, and how you can, by making a donation to the renovation project, have a pipe in the organ named after you or someone you love. How about that? It's a Van den Heuvel organ with 101 stops, 5 manuals, 7,952 pipes, and boy, does Baptiste Florian Mal Ouvrard know how to play it. Playing Couperin's, it's Messe pour les Paroisses means mass for the parishes. So it's for the common church kind of stuff. Folks, I think it's a great lineup that we have for you this week. I hope that one or any of these live streams appeals to you, uplifts you, inspires you, or just gives you a great time. And I will remind you once again, if you're watching this on Facebook, like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe by clicking on the icon in the lower right-hand corner at the end of this live stream. And if you're watching on any of our other platforms, don't just like the video, like us. Subscribe to and or follow Access Arts Live on X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads, and we will continue to supply you with more than 1,000 live links to live performances online in 2025, including a plethora of some really terrific and some just really good live streams of organ recitals all year long. I'll be back a little later at about 6:30 this evening, in about an hour and a half, with the live stream weekly roundup of chamber music this week. And there's some great chamber music coming up, so you don't want to miss that. Ciao for now.